Hello there, my name is Melissa and this is my very first floss tube. I live in New Mexico and I moved here about 2 years ago from Kansas. I lived in Kansas for probably 35 years. My whole family, I'm married and have a teenage daughter. For the past year, has it been over? It's been over a year probably, but we've been working from home and going to school from home. I really got to where I was really looking forward to several things. One was I had a local shop that I used to go to for quilting and cross stitch and gifts and things like that. That was in a great little downtown in Lawrence, Kansas. It's called Stitch On. And I went to a lot of retreats with them and they started doing Facebook Lives and I was able to see some of the new quilting products they had, fabric and cross stitch kits and patterns. And so they did that twice a week and I really looked forward to it. And then I was watching Fat Quarter Shop because they did a quilting video every week. And then I realized that they had something called Flosstube on one of their other YouTube channels. And so I started watching that one too. So I had something, each week, a few things to look forward to that was, stitchy and quilty because I love to quilt and I love to cross stitch. I've started quite a few quilts, but I've also started quite a few little cross stitch projects here and there. So I did learn to cross stitch when I was a sophomore, I think, sophomore or junior in high school. I had a geometry teacher that I really connected with and she liked to cross stitch and I asked her about it one day and she said she'd be happy to teach me, and so she did. And I made a couple of things. I really got more into it when I got married because my mother-in-law loved to cross stitch and she did it in the evenings. And so she would sit and cross stitch and I made a Jayhawk mascot for my husband because we were both KU graduates. And I think it's in his office. I'll have to see if I can dig that up because I just remembered that the other day that I did that. And I also made my mom I think it was Footprints in the Sand, that kind of poem, and had some sand dollars and kind of a beachy theme to it. And she still has that hanging in her bedroom at her house. So that's kind of fun to see when I go visit. They live quite a ways from here. It's they live in my whole family lives in Tennessee, and so it's a lot further to get to, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them this summer. So one thing I have to show you is something that I'm stitching for my mom. So anyway, it's time to, I think, show some projects that I've been working on. Let's see, I will start with one of the ones that I've been working on for quite some time, and I put it aside. I'll show it to you here. It is from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and it's their Woodland Sampler, and I absolutely love this. There's some deer for January, our little raccoon, a jackalope for April, April Fool's Day, and a little mushroom here, gnome. I love the lightning bug. I think the fox is probably my favorite so far though. I love dandelions, I love the fox. So I'm working on a little skunk next. So that's Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I really struggled with this because it is on, I believe, 32 count linen, and my eyes, I think I've been in denial for a while. I felt like they changed suddenly when we moved to New Mexico. I don't know if it's the dry air or my age or what it is, but before we even moved here, I was struggling to see the holes in this. And I could see it outside. And I had this idea when I got this pattern that I was going to take it with us when we went camping and work on it then. But when we're camping, we go hiking, we're sitting by the fire, spending time together as a family, playing games. And then, by the time it would get dark, like it was too small to really stitch on. And if I could only if I saved it for camping, then I wasn't going to really make very much progress. So since in the last year, I think I finished up the fox for July. I had started it, and then when I picked it back up, I didn't have much accomplished, but I was able to finish the fox and start working on the skunk. Oh, and I wanted to show you the bag. I made this a couple of years ago. It's a Heather Ross fabric, and it's just a bag that I've used for a lot of different things, but I just love Heather Ross. And I just tuck that and all my threads in there. So, and then inside, I have a little bag that my mom made for me. And I keep all my floss in there. So, oh, and the inside of this is really cute. I'll fold it down. But it's got this cute little frog fabric. The frog's going swimming. Anyway, it's not one of those like official project cross-stitch project bags, but I rounded up things and put it in what I had. So another thing that I worked on, and I think I got this one from Stitch On in Lawrence, but it's a Mill Hill kit, and it is, let's see, a little cardinal button, and you stitch the trees here. This is called Winter Woods, and so far, this is what I have stitched. I have some of the trees and the beginning of some snowflakes. I kind of felt like I was getting into the weeds a little bit with just, you know, when I was stitching on the sampler, you're like, okay, I'm stitching on the raccoon, and I'm going to keep going till I finish his ear, finish his face. But the trees, when I was stitching and it was up close to my face, I felt like I couldn't really tell what I was stitching. And so it got a little boring, but it's not a very big piece. So I think I will probably pick it back up and finish that. I love the cardinal. And of course, this is one I thought of for my mom. My mom and my sister and I, we all love to see cardinals. And we've had them at different places where we've lived. So this one I've got in a little bag that my mom made me. Some Charlie Harper cardinals. And it's got a fun little red and white polka dot inside. And I have my thread in a little Moda bag that says buttons. No, well, there's probably one button in there. There's a cardinal button in there. So that's my Mill Hill kit that I have going. And then this, I think it was this last summer, the library had different kits for creative kits of different kinds. You could learn to knit, you could learn to crochet, you could learn to stamp, you could learn to cross stitch. There were all kinds of things that they did. And one week it was cross stitch. And so I went to go get a kit, and this is what it is. It's a DMC kit. It's a little bicycle with flowers. I love the flowers that were around it. So I had my own little retreat while last summer and spent some time just doing some things that I wanted. We have a camper, and so we couldn't go anywhere. Everything was locked down. And so I just went into the camper and took some stitching things, and you just worked on different things that I wanted to. And so I got about this far. I worked on some of the bike, and oh, I just had the hardest time counting. It has half stitches in it, which I know how to do, but I think I was trying to attend to something else, maybe a video or a movie or something, and I was having a hard time concentrating on it and getting the stitching just right. But I will show you one that I heard about when I was watching Flosstube. I haven't watched but a couple of them, but this is, I think Fat Quarter Shop mentioned stitching with the Housewives with Priscilla and Chelsea. And so I think Chelsea had a birthday and they released a free pattern called Chelsea's Chickens. And I went to go look at it, and I thought it was just darling. And I thought it was something my mom would love. It has a snowman, it has a chicken, it has a cardinal, it's got snowflakes. And I just was like, oh, that is so cute. So I downloaded the free pattern and decided to start stitching it actually this this past Memorial Day weekend. We went camping, and it was something really small that I could take with me, and I did work on it. Today I worked on it again and had to end up, I missed one stitch and was over on a few lines and had to tear out a little section. But this is Chelsea's chickens. And I've started the snowman right here. He's so cute. We'll have a scarf. This is the top of the chicken. It's a rooster. So it's the top of his head. No, it might not be a rooster. It's not a rooster. But that's the top of his head or her head. And there'll be a little cardinal on the other side that the snowman will be holding. And some snowflakes up here. So I had to tear out with my seam ripper a few lines of stitching. It's always discouraging when you have to do that, but I'll get right back to it. I love that I can see the progress that I'm making on the snowman as I stitch. And I'm looking forward to getting to the chicken and the little cardinal. It's going to be fun. It'll be a pretty quick finish, I think. So I'll keep working on that. The other thing that I purchased and was greatly anticipating was Bonnie and Camille's quilt bee book. And this is the sampler quilt that is in it. And you can learn to make all these blocks. But in the back of it is a cross stitch pattern for that same quilt. And this is what it looks like. It is just beautiful. I've always loved Bonnie and Camille's patterns and their fabrics. And in fact, I have a little collection of their fabrics. And I just got really excited to stitch that. So I bought the floss and the thread from Fat Quarter Shop. And so far I've got the little X's at the top stitched. This is what that looks like. Love, love, love those colors. I had started I think it's maybe a hexagon. It was right here. And I started it in the wrong spot and got about just two, like a dark and a light started, and realized I had started it in the wrong spot. So I just had to rip that out. I had to do too much ripping. I don't know if it's just me or if everybody hits those occasionally. So anyway, I love the fabric that it's on. It's a bright, kind of a bright white. And I just love the colors. I just think it's so pretty. So I'll keep working on that. That one I'll probably pace myself on that one a bit and work on it over time. So now I'm going to show you what is my oldest one. I told you that my mother-in-law loved to cross stitch, and sometime I may actually show you some of her work. She did beautiful work, and she gifted some of her projects to different people in her family. And when she would stitch, when we would go visit, I would sit and stitch with her. And so at some point I bought this kit, and probably from, I don't know if Hobby Lobby was a thing back when I started this. The pattern's from 1997, so it's been around a while, and I'd forgotten even that I had it. So it is a full coverage piece, and it's got 3 little kittens and the little birds. And I just thought it was so sweet. I think I've had a cat forever. We have a little cat named Mittens right now. She's kind of a calico. I think she's called a calico cat. And this is as far as I reached on this. I have a little cat's face. And when I first found it, I thought, oh, that's so cute. And I was like, I don't know if I'll finish. I don't know if I'll keep working on that. Do I still like it? I think I do, but the thought of doing a full coverage piece seems like a lot right now. But I do think it's really sweet. So I probably will return to that at some point. But I'm not a very fast stitcher. I did recently learn how to stitch in hand. And so that does go a lot quicker. I used to always hoop things, and I think I will maybe make a little more progress now that I know how to stitch in hand. Of course, I was introduced to new cross-stitch designers, and I picked up a few things over the course of the pandemic to work on because I was very excited about cross-stitch again. So in a future video, I'll show you some of my haul from the past year. I've got quite a few little projects I'm excited to start, but I don't know that I will start many until I make some more progress. I would really like to get the Chelsea's chicken finished before I start anything new. And then I would like to make some progress on, I would like to get the skunk done on the woodland sampler that's right here. Little skunk that I've started. And then I would like to get a few more blocks done on the, I think it's called the Shine On sampler. Let's see, I can check. Yes, the Shine On sampler. That's what Bonnie and Camille's cross stitch is called. So I'd like to get a couple more blocks of that under my belt before I start anything new. I've got some fun things, and I'll show you that maybe the next time I do a video. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. I'm very excited to watch some of your floss tubes and to get to know some of you in the comments. So I'll be back with another video to show you some of my progress, to show you some of the projects that I have in the works waiting. And I hope to see you then. Bye, thanks.